What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS.
I'm Zarathustra. I'm the founder of Fifth Dimensional Quantum Healing and Fifth Dimensional Quantum Awareness. And if I'm to describe myself or label myself regarding what I am or who I am in one word, I would say I am a mystic.
Well, Zarathustra, just thank you so much for being with us today, right? Obviously there's just been, you know, we had to just get the setup right here as well to get to this point now, but I'm just grateful to be in this moment with you, because the more I got to know you in this short space, the more I see what a beautiful soul you are. Okay, so just thank you for allowing me to put you on the documentary and interview you as well.
Well, you're welcome. Well, thank you for taking the time and coming all the way here from England, and also including me in your documentary.
I don't know why, but it's difficult for me to start this interview off right now, because it's almost like there's so much I want to ask you, right? But I think for everyone, we just need to start at the beginning here as well, right? So, was there anybody in your family with any sort of mystic or psychic abilities that you can now look back and say, you know what, they did have those abilities, but I wasn't aware at the time they had those?
Yes, my mother. My mother has always been a very strong psychic. And at that time I didn't know these words that I'm sharing is like being clairsentient, claircognizant. I didn't know what it meant, and but now I do, and now I realize that my mother had these abilities all this time, and she still does.
Is she aware right now she has those abilities?
No.
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 Have you told her?
Not in this sense. No.
No.
I don't think. I don't know. Somehow it's never come up, and I haven't thought about it.
No. Okay, that's interesting. Do we all have these abilities?
Yes, everybody does. Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, we're sentient beings. We're awareness. And the job of awareness is to be aware. So, you know, like everybody on this planet, I mean, who's able, you can teach them to play piano now, or play tennis, or ride a bicycle. Now, not they're not necessarily going to be a professional tennis player or piano player, but they can learn if you create the right environment. So we all have these abilities. We're just not being aware of it, and it's not being developed because in general society, our schooling, our most of us are parents or are not geared into helping us to recognize and develop our psychic powers and abilities that we are inherently were born with.
Oh God, absolutely. I do agree with that. Now, some people may say, you know what, those abilities I honed on in a past life, and I've just brought those abilities into this present moment. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you would exactly go there, would you, with that statement?
Well, I mean, I just look at this life by itself as a handful, and most of us have a hard time figuring out this life. So why even go anywhere else? Now, whether these abilities are coming from past life or not, what difference does it make? If when you have it, you have it. The key is that how do you develop them and how do you use them that they can serve you and serve others?
Yes, and I've come across many channelers on my documentary and psychics who honed this ability in later on in their life. Now, some people have it at an early age, it's just there, but then others are able to hone it in, able to perfect it, in a sense.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you about the nature of what that is? There's many ways we can look into it, but does it mean any of them are true?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever is true for yourself. And you also have to pay attention that there's a lot of egos being involved for a lot of people, especially on the spiritual path. Unfortunately, most of us, we develop a big ego because we like to believe we're special or we're different. And that is also a trap. So we have to be careful not to fall into that trap.
And how would you class the ego, just out of curiosity?
Well, ego is just a thought. It's a thought of me. It's an I thought. I am separated from everything else. I am powerful. I'm the author of my own life. I'm strong and I can do whatever I want and I can accomplish anything I want in this life, which sometimes it does happen and a lot of times it doesn't happen. But it's basically a thought. That's all it is.
Why do you think we do not accomplish certain things in our lives, that we all can't, have what we would see others having sometimes, yet we can't seem to bring that into our life? Is it just because that's not our path?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very much an advocate of basically whatever's meant to be is going to be. I mean, if you look at the way your life has unfolded until this moment, you can look at it that so many different miracles have happened. So many different times, out of nowhere, elements have cooperated with each other to make things happen to lead you to where you're at right now. Right? So, a lot of the times that we're not even aware of it. So, of how things coincided with each other for you to be where you're at, to do what you're doing.
Right. I'm even, confused about the law of attraction right now in this sense, because is that another addiction? Because I would say this is what I've learned. I really want your opinion here, that go with love on any decision you make on something that you would really like to experience, and come from that space, and that will either work for you or if it's in your interest for it to work.
Right. Well, when you say that, go with love, right? And I mean, I'm assuming that you're referring to being in this place of no attachment. Like if you're surrendered to what is. And most of us are doing whatever we have to do because we want things to go our way. And then when things don't go our way, we feel very disappointment. So a lot of times, naturally, what we do is we're heavily invested in some kind of results, right?
So true.
That this, I put a lot of time and energy in this young lady, and I'm heavily invested. I spend time, energy, money, everything, and I want this young lady to marry me. And then when it comes to final moment and she just decides that she's interested in somebody else, now I'm just really broken and I crash because I have all this time and mental investment into certain kind of result that I want out of this relationship. Now, what if my attitude is that, okay, if things go my way and this young lady marries me, we end up being together, great, I'll be very, very happy. But in the same time, if things don't go my way, if somehow she changes her mind and she wants to go a separate way, then I'm in complete acceptance of what is. I'm completely accepting that existence has chosen things to go a different way. And if I have that point of view of looking in that direction, then I also will come to this understanding that if something doesn't go my way, it's because it's the will of the life or God or Allah or existence. So that means ultimately it's going to be the best for me because life knows a lot better and knows more than I do.
What's it knowing more of? Is it knowing more of a plan it's set for us?
Well, the thing is that when we look at this whole thing, we're looking at it as from a very limited point of view because we're only looking at a very short period of a short distance, and we cannot cover the whole thing. You cannot look at your entire life. You're only looking at whatever's have happened to this moment or whatever you can imagine for the next few days or maybe next year. You can't see the whole thing.
Why is it planned out, do you think? Is there something that's agreed upon? Is it because the way you talk about that is as though it already knows some outcome.
Well, the way I look at it, that things are going to be exactly the way they're meant to be. So that's how I look at it. The outcome is going to be what it wants to be.
Who's choosing that though?
Well, whomever has put the whole thing together, whomever is constructing the entire universe, who's in charge of these planets turning around each other, turning around themselves and turning around each other and not colliding with one another. Who is running your respiratory system? Who's running your digestive system? When you're sleeping at night, right? When you sleep at night for 6-7 hours, your facial hair grows, your hair grows. Are you in control of your digestion? Are you in control of your heartbeat? Are you in control of any of these things? So there is an intelligence that's running your body. There is an intelligence that's running the universe. There's an intelligence that's running all these different vegetations, all these birds, animals, the bacteria, everything is in cooperation with everything. So that's definitely not me. It's not me as a person deciding on that. Something's running the show, which is a lot more greater than I am.
But there must be things that you would really like to have sometimes in your life. You must have had periods where you're like, I'd really love to experience that. Now, with no attachments, you would then go forth and say, if it's in my deepest interest to have this, and as long as I'm in love with my decision of having this, then whatever's going to be is going to be.
Yeah, that. But I mean, initially as a human being, you always want to manipulate things to go your way. You always want things to go your way, don't you?
Why do you think law of attraction videos are so attractive? Because it gives us the idea that we can control this.
Yeah, exactly. It will give you the idea you can control it, correct. Or you can get what you want, whatever that is. Which is fine. You know, I really want to get this thing. Well, and I'll do anything I can to get it. I'll do anyhow that I can manipulate things to get to it. But sometimes you do and sometimes you don't.
Right, well thank you very much for just covering that. Thank you. And you found that to be a very peaceful place to come from for yourself?
Well, I find the more I surrender, acceptance of what is.
But you're still making choices of things that you want to do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't have a choice not to make a choice. You know, I'm facing different decisions every moment and I have to make decisions. But when you make a decision, normally, where you make your decision always in life from the highest level of the intelligence which is available to you, whatever that decision is.
Is that love you're talking about?
You can call it love. Well, the thing is, when you're speaking of love, where love is a loaded word, because are we talking about romantic love?
A passion love. A passion love, yeah.
Right. Well, let's say you make a decision right now, you want an ice cream. I don't know how much passion love is in it, or you want some chocolate. You want to walk down the street and pick up some candy bar.
I know it's going to be there.
Huh?
I know it's going to be there. You just use that analogy of a chocolate bar there, right? I know when I go around the corner, I know that chocolate bar is going to be there. I know it is.
You don't.
In some place somewhere, I know I'll be able to get one.
Okay. Right.
So I just know I can manifest that like that.
Okay.
Some of these bigger decisions where it's not so obvious that I always know the chocolate bar's around the corner, like, you know, personal love relationship or a business decision, you don't always know that chocolate bar is going to be there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that leaves us in that analogy, right? but what I'm trying to say, if you applied that knowing of a chocolate bar to the knowing of some bigger decision that you just know it's going to be there, does that attract it more? Because you are a master manifestor and you know that that's going to be there, and that's the passion that goes into it.
Well, something's really down deep is driving you. You know, there's a passion. You know, down deep within yourself that something is running you. And you may not even know exactly what that is, but it's something. You know it, and you don't need to read about it or anybody tells you. But down deep, you know that. Well, whatever that is, that thing is the very motivation or is the very drive force or life which is within each and every one of us. Everybody has that thing. Now, which direction is going to take you? Is it going to take you to destruction or love or constructive way of doing it? Some force is inside there that calling, that force is motivating you, pushing you to move forward, to do something.
Yes, absolutely. And I know we've gone completely away from your backstory here as well, right? We're going to get into that, right? It's just you're a fascinating person, and I just think there's so many ways we could take this, right? So thank you for that. But then, what I have to say, go from there. What is the nature of reality then, in a sense, to you? Because we went to go get a coffee earlier on, and when we sat back down in the back garden, you said to me, how do we know that that memory of us getting a coffee actually even happened? No one observed it except for us. And even our memory is not what we think it is.
Right. Yeah, well, I refer to that the moments of life, they happen in a vertical way. So if you just see like this is this moment, and the next moment is here parallel to it, and then the next moment parallel to that, and this is how it is, but they're not connected to each other. So this moment happens, it's here, it happens, and it's gone. And then the next moment happens. It's like a flash. Boom, it happens, it's over. Then the next moment happens. And since these moments are happening so quickly, so fast, there is this illusion. It appears that they're connected to each other. It appears like we're going on a horizontal way. But that's an illusion because it's not happening. If it was a horizontal way, then it would give you a chance to be able to go to the past or go to the future. But the moments are happening vertically and they're not connected to each other. So therefore, right now, you cannot go back to a minute ago, or you cannot go back to a few minutes ago. You can't go back to that time because that time doesn't exist anymore. That moment happened, we're here together, the moment happens, and the moment is gone. And the moment disappears. It disappears in the ether. And it's non-existing as if it never happened. Now, if you're recording things, then you have something, a point of reference, you can go back to it.
Like this.
Like this, for example, right? But on ordinary basis, when you're living your life, you're not recording every moment of your life.
So what is this recording right now then? This is just a flashback.
Well, but let's put this recording aside, where it's talking about the moments of life.
Sure.
Correct?
Yes.
Right. In this very moment, right now, what is your reality? What is the reality that you're perceiving, you're touching, you're sensing, you're dealing with this moment, right now? Okay? This moment, this thing happens, correct? Right. In this very moment, one single moment, what is this? Is this the only reality right now that you can handle?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. So you're in this room looking at me, correct?
Yes.
And you can see as far as your perception allows you, which is this room, correct? So this is, and we're sharing this moment together. This is as much as you can handle. You're breathing as much air as you can. You're sensing the temperature of the room. You're hearing my voice. Okay, so in this moment, and then this moment, and then it's gone, right? So outside of this moment, is there anything else you can handle? That it is. Is there anything else outside of this moment?
Just what I can hear outside the room.
Where you can hear outside, correct. So outside of this moment, the rest of your life, okay, your family, your parents, let's say if you're dating somebody or not, you have friends, do any of them exist right now outside of this moment?
No. No.
No. And if they do, where are they?
In my head.
In your memory.
My memory.
You have a memory of that you have a life, you have family, your home is in middle of England, and you have friends, and so on and so on and so on, correct?
Yes.
So how often you've heard of somebody who had a car accident and they lost their memory?
Of course.
You have, right? So if right now something, God forbid, happened to you, you hit your head against something, and you lose your memory, and you're sitting over here, you have no memory. So what is your reality right now?
Just this moment.
Just this moment. So this moment is the only thing that exists. Regardless you have memory or you don't have memory, This is the only thing that exists, this moment. And once you start to shift your perception and you begin to look at it like every single moment of life, it happens and it's gone. It happens and it's gone. They're not connected to each other. They're happening next to each other, but it happens in a flash. It's here, it's a snapshot, and it's gone forever. You realize that existence, the entire existence, is only happening in this very moment. The entire existence that we believe that exists, which we can't comprehend, we cannot grab it because it's way too big, which limits us to only this. Like I'm sitting in this room, and this is as much as I can handle ever in my life.
And those that are watching and observing us right now in this recording, what are they watching?
Well, they're just same thing. They're watching as much as they can handle.
In that room, in the moment.
In that very moment of life. So, bear with me, just be with me. If you can bring your mind into this, that this single moment, wow, if you start to imagining this, like these moments are happening and they're finished and vanished forever. And there's zero record of them that ever happened, except in your memory, except in the memory of the collective. Like collectively, we do agree there is Venice Beach. Collectively, we do agree there is California. Collectively, we believe that at the end of the day, you walk out of this house and you go on the street. But right now, you cannot see any of it.
Absolutely.
All of that is an information that you agree that it does exist, but it's not your present experience.
But if I brought someone in on a video link right now, I could experience their
But
present.
what we're just talking about, how much you can handle in every given moment of life. And if you look at it that way, you can see that every given moment of life, you can only handle a very limited amount.
But is that a good enough explanation that actually none of it outside is actually even happening?
It has never happened.
It has never happened.
It has never happened.
But I experienced it.
Oh, well, but where is it?
Well, if I walked out there now, I'd see it.
Well, I would say if something's real, let's put it this way. Would you agree something real should always be present? Something's real should always be here.
Yes.
Would you agree? For example, at your home, do you have a kitchen?
Yes.
Okay. So imagine every time you walk into your kitchen is there. Now imagine that you walk into your kitchen 3 days out of 7 days and your kitchen's not there. You get up in the morning, you walk into your kitchen to make some coffee, and the kitchen's not there. The kitchen disappeared. It's a hollow space. Then how real is your kitchen?
Right.
If it appears and disappears on its own, then it cannot be real.
But why would it do that for?
Well, because the entire thing, okay, we'll go back. The only real thing in the entire existence is that which is always here. The only real thing is that which is always here. Okay, now let's examine. What is it that is always here?
Well, I'm always present, I think.
That's very good. You are always present. You are.
And you are.
Well, I could be in front of you, I can disappear. I can come and go. Your thoughts come and go. Your feelings continuously change. So we're pointing at the only thing that is always present, always, never changes, never comes, and never goes. Well, it can't be your thoughts, because your thoughts changing all the time. It can't be your feelings, because this morning maybe you felt anxious, and then by this noontime maybe you were a bit irritated, and then by now you're relaxed. So your emotions change too, correct?
Yes.
And it can't be your body either, because when you were 5 years old, you had a different body. When you were a teenager, you started to grow and your body changed. And now that you're in your adulthood, you have a different body. And 30 years from now on, it certainly would not be the same. And that's going to change too. Your parents, they come and go. Your best friends, they come and go. Economies continuously come and go. Governments change. Kingdoms, they rise and they fall. Buildings, constructions, monuments, they change. Everything is continuously changes. In the midst of all of this, that everything changes in front of what? This change happens to what? Who knows that change is happening? Because there has to be something that eternally does not change. That these changes are reflecting back on something which is very still, so change gets recorded. Something must always be here 100% without change to be aware of change. And what is that?
That's the thing I can't describe.
Yes, I understand.
I can't even begin to try to imagine it. It's almost illusionary to me, purposefully, respectfully, like I've asked it to be at some deeper level, hidden from me of what this is. I can call it I am, I can call it I would call it my awareness maybe. And it's like the awareness of being aware, that's what I would call it. It's my awareness at a distance of being aware of my awareness. What the hell I'm saying here, I don't know, but it's almost like it's like I know myself from some distance.
Well, you're very much on it. That you're referring to is the sense of I am. The sense of I am. I'm not talking about Kevin's personality. I'm not talking about Kevin's character.
No.
Because they all have changed. But I'm talking about the sense of I am. The simple sense that you are. And if you look at it, the sense of I am has never changed in your life. The sense of I am. This simple sense, this simple knowing that when you were 5 years old, you didn't need to read books about spirituality or anybody to come to tell you that, Kevin, you are. You had this sense that you are, correct?
I think this sense of I am became more aware as I got to my teens.
Okay, now we're talking about an awareness of the sense of I am. But the simple sense of I am...
It was very basic.
It was very basic.
It was really basic. I just got on and I didn't question. I didn't question much.
Right, but it was there.
It was there and it was less pushy on me that it...
Right, but stay with me. There was a sense that you are. If you look at every 5-year-old kid, they all know that they are. They don't have to read about spirituality. They don't have to be spiritual or work on consciousness. They simply know that they are.
What changes?
Nothing, everything else changes, but that sense never changes. When you're 10 years old, or when you're 12, 13 years old, you're going through puberty, and now your agenda changes. Before you were playing with toys and tanks, now you're playing with girls. Yeah. So your hormones changes, your body is changing, but you still know you are. If you're 16, 17-year-old, you're in a dangerous situation, other boys want to gang up on you and beat you up, your emotions change, there's fear coming, but you still know you are. The sense of I am is there. You're 18, 19 years old, you fall deeply in love with this girl or boy or whatever, and you're just feeling all these emotions of I'm deeply in love. Sense of I am, sense of being is there. And then a year after, the girl leaves you and you're completely heartbroken. Again, the sense of being never changes. Emotions come and go. Emotions, your heart is ripped into pieces, but the I am, the sense of being, never changes. And this continues throughout all of your life. That sense of being. That's one word of it. The very sense that I am. That I'm alive. The sense that I am. Always remains the same, regardless of where my psyche is, or where emotionally I am, or what's going on in my mind.
How do we ever, right, even try to cover this subject with any kind of logic or anything like that, or even really know what... this is a personal truth, isn't it? This is a personal truth journey. It's what feels right. People watching this right now, this has got to feel right. And this doesn't feel right what we're saying, take none of it with you. That's what I would say. Why does this have to be true for those watching this? If someone's watching this and it doesn't feel truthful to them...
This is the truth. The very truth, Kevin, is that this moment is the only moment that ever exists, and will ever exist. Outside of this one, there's nothing else.
But then you've got to be ready to hear. People may watch this who are not ready though.
I understand that, but this is not for pussycats. I mean, is this like 5 o'clock, we're playing some Mickey Mouse cartoon character series? Are you playing this for pussycats, or this is for the very advanced spiritual seeker, the sincere seeker who wants to really dig deep?
But even the sincere seeker, this is a wake-up call even for them in some respects.
They will watch the movie Secret. They will go and start manifesting things, and they're attracted to those things. They go after A, B, C, D. Give me something to work with. Give me something that I can hang on to outside of nothing.
And isn't that what religion does? Because religion to me is a kind of example of that, where it says, well, look, we won't let you think. You don't need to think. Just go along with our way of thinking and don't seek any newer truths. And this will just keep you where you need to be, because this is less painful. It's easier for you. It's less self-responsibility to, I can understand why religion. I can now understand doing this documentary why religion is actually quite acceptable to a lot of people, because you don't have to do the work.
Yeah, but the religion, quite opposite to what I share and teach, it activates your mind. It forces you to think, because it's full of shame and guilt and regret.
It's got those good points.
Yeah, it does that. But this teaching, or what we're sharing, is really leading you to one point. And that one point is that if you turn your attention from the other world, if you start to bring your attention inwards, so you start looking at one-pointedness within yourself. And what you discover is what they call it in Sanskrit, the Atman. You bring your attention to the I am. The one is here. For simplicity, we can change the word to it. The observer, the witness. There's one over here like this. And this one is completely still. And this one is aware of the thoughts. The thoughts in your mind pass by. And this one, hear the thoughts. And then same one is here. This I am is aware that your emotions come and go. You know, and in some cases they could be like yo-yo, up and down, or they could be calm. And this one simultaneously is very well aware of there is a body or the meat, that this meat is changing. It is this one-pointedness, this one I am, this observer or this witness, whatever name, these are different names, is sitting here, not touched, not concerned, is simply aware of these elements changing and going through it.
But then why am I concerned? Why am I, if I am that, which I am, which is this space of just the source,
Right.
all that is, this reflective space, if I am really that, in this moment I've got the opposing going on, because I've got all the other things going on in my head right now. You know, I'm having to make sure this interview carries forward. I'm, you know, having to keep it all together here right now.
Right.
And I've got my own issues going on.
Right.
Which, you know, and I've got, you know, I sat down with you earlier and I said, you know, I just don't know which way my life's going right now, except for what's present there right now. So
Right.
all these things.
Right.
Why do I have? I'm having all these things go on because I'm having a human experience.
Yes. Yeah. You're having a human experience.
And that's what I came here for.
Yes. Well, whether you came here for it or not, I don't know about that.
What do you think you came here for?
I don't know. I'm here. You know, I don't sit down and think about, you know, because these are thoughts. So I've come to this thing, to this understanding. What if no thoughts? What if I'm here with you right now,
Yes.
or in my life, and I'm sitting here and there's zero thoughts. There's no thoughts happening. It's quiet. Okay, let's examine this for a moment. Let's just check it out. We're here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so for a moment, your attention is only one point, whatever that point is.
That's you.
Okay,
My only care is you.
okay, all right, then stay in this place.
I can't. It's so difficult.
Well, when you can, if there is no thoughts, if it's quiet and pure silence, then to whom does it matter what are you here for or what's the goal of life?
Because you feel like you've got responsibilities.
Yeah, isn't that a thought though?
Yeah, because in this present moment they don't exist, and actually in this present moment everything's perfect.
Yeah. In this present moment, everything is perfect. In this right now. Our experience.
Not before, not next, going to be in the next few seconds now.
Right now. Is there anything missing in this moment in your life?
No.
In this moment?
No.
I mean, are you hungry?
No.
Are you cold? Somebody's
No.
put a gun in your head? Do you have to, are they going to kick you out of your apartment? In this very moment, right now?
Nothing, no.
Right, okay. And this is the only moment you have, Kevin. So when you come to this very moment and you recognize it, you see that it's completely perfect in this moment. Because nothing is going on in this moment.
What does that equal to a way of life?
What it equals to that in this moment, nothing is happening. Nothing is going on. The entire universe.
But I can't stay in this moment forever because there's things I want to do.
Well, you are always in this moment. You can't not be in this moment. That's the irony of it. It's your mind that goes to other places.
Is that an excuse not to have a human experience?
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's a training. It's the fact that we've been trained to be in the world of illusion outside of in this moment. From childhood, we've been trained to look for it outside of here. It's always somewhere else.
What is? Just remind us again. What?
It starts with love and acceptance, for example. So, did you grow up with your parents?
Yes.
Okay, loving parents or
Yes.
together, right? Okay, you remember you were 5, 6, 7 years old, or 8, 9, going to school. What do they tell you? Be a good boy, eat your vitamins, eat your spaghetti, so mommy loves you, daddy loves you, so we're proud of you. Go to school, get good grades, finish your school. Kevin, be a good boy, polish your shoes, make sure you eat your banana, right? So then, why? Why they tell you to do those things? So then they love you and accept you. So you're a good boy, right? What is a good boy? That you do things according to your parents, correct? And according to your school, according to the government, correct?
Yep.
So therefore you get what? Acknowledgement, and you get love and acceptance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because if you're a good boy, you eat your spaghetti and you eat your vegetables and get good grades, you're going to get love. We're going to love you, right? You get love. So what happens? You starts to be brainwashed. That love is an object that I have to acquire by doing some good deeds or deeds that my family would like. Then I receive love, correct?
Yes.
So love is outside of me. I am not love. Love is not here. Love is an object that I have to acquire. Acceptance is something that I have to acquire. I have to do certain things in certain ways so my parents accept me and love me.
So what is your teaching to that now?
So what happens is your mind starts to get conditioned to project something which is not real. You start projecting that love and acceptance is coming from the other world. That you don't already have it inside you, that you're incomplete, and you need to be doing things in order to get it. Now we'll go a little bit further. And then the society is going to tell you get a good degree, go to university, get a grade, and then make more money. So then you find a trophy girl. So then you can marry her and then be happy thereafter, correct? It's an object
family,
out there.
babies and everything else. Yeah.
So you'll be happy. Once I have this great job and once I marry, Dorothy, then I'm going to be happy forever, right?
Right.
So you're projecting again happiness and love outside. So we're chasing this. And we keep getting these objects. But how long?
Assets,
objects, how long do they give us happiness?
short term.
Short term. And then what happens when we lose them?
We don't know who we are.
We don't know who we are. Exactly. We're destroyed. What happens if you finally got the woman that you love, and then after 6 months she says, I'm sorry, honey, I'm in love with your best friend, and she leaves you? Then we crash and we're destroyed because we're projecting love, happiness outside of ourselves into other objects.
So what was the whole point of this experience then in your understanding?
Is that when you learn how to turn the mind inwards in bringing your attention into the one-pointedness within, when we start to look at the very source, the I am, the Atman, the part of you which is very still, very quiet, is within yourself, is sitting there. And that's not thoughts, it's not emotions, it's not a body, it's simply the one which is here. The more your attention goes towards that one, the more you realize that you're perfect, it is pure love, and it's complete. And it's always in this moment. And it's not subject to anything to come and go.
But you must have had clients that get to that space, but they don't stop wanting to manifest things in their life or do things with their life. You don't just become a Buddha and sit. When you reach that space...
No, you reach that space, your attention on the very truth, that which doesn't change. And then everything else comes and goes around you. Life continues.
What's it done for your life, coming from that perspective?
Well, it has brought me to inner peace and inner love. It has brought me to silence.
Has it tested you? Has life tested you with your truth?
It's testing me every moment. Continuously, you're being tested. Are you in your center?
Like today when we're having the problem outside filming.
Yeah, many different times, and this was a minor thing.
But it's still a test?
Yeah, you get tested all the time.
No free ticket?
No free ticket. But the thing is, once you recognize where it is, and your attention is staying on one point, that which is here, that which is always the same, and your attention is there, so now you know what's real, and anything else that comes and goes, you know it's not real. So you're not affected by its coming and going anymore.
But then this whole idea of going into that space, of even just coming from the truth of, okay, I'm awareness, observing my awareness, and this is my way of saying it, right?
I understand.
And I'm that presence observing, and that,
right.
Some people call that God, source, whatever you want to call it, or all that is, right? But then when you go into a dream state, when you go to sleep, and you don't dream, and you just go into that place of darkness where you can't remember anything until the minute you woke up and you say, well, you would agree with this, that I am, or I am Kevin.
Right.
That darkness, that space that you go into, would you say that's going into the space of the all that is? You're going back home to the awareness presence? The
unmanifested self. You go back to that space of yourself, pure I am.
But that pure I am had no awareness.
It simply is. There has to be duality for awareness to be. There has to be another. Otherwise, awareness of what?
So the awareness goes into nothingness and the everything. It's the duality, the hot and the cold.
Yes.
But for our human minds, we always want the proof. Show me the proof. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a part of the show. That's the part of the Leela of life. That's a part of this phenomena. The part of this dream, this duality, is the opposites. So we come into the world of the opposites, and we have to experience the sweet and sour. But then you go back into one-pointedness, whether you sleep and you don't dream, or you go to pure meditation which is absolute silence, then everything disappears.
But when I sleep and I don't dream, that state is almost like the state of where I think to myself, well, I can't remember where I came from. I can't remember being the all that is. I've got no recollection of any of that.
Yeah, because there is no you there.
But then I'm supposed to, but in this conversation, you say there's no I there, but then I am God I'm using human words here, having a human experience. So why can't I remember myself then before this incarnation or this moment? Back in
Right.
Why can't I remember something before childhood?
Maybe there was never there has never been one.
Then that would also imply then that there's no past lives, no future lives. Actually, that's a projection to help us make sense of what this could be. There might only ever have been this life.
Could be.
When people say, oh, you've lived that, you've lived that, you've lived that, is
Right.
that for us to maybe help us ground ourselves in this human experience so we can say, yeah, I can see I was that, I can see it, because but then in these past lives, you can say to yourself, oh no, I feel that because no one's ever, like when I had a past life regression and the guy said to me, you've been a monk in many lives. And I was like, oh my God, that explains why I feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else he could have told me would have explained it like that.
Right.
But then if I'm saying that's an illusion, that explanation, just to help you have this human experience, why did I feel that way? Or was it a trick to me to feel that way? Was it something along my life path that was injected in me to make me feel that way, so this human experience would feel real? But actually, there was only ever this timeline, nothing else. I don't know if I'm making sense. Are we tricking ourselves? Is it also one big fashionable trick just so that we are having this human experience because this is what we wanted?
we are having this human experience. We are having this human experience. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, when your mind quiets down, if you get to this place, if you are trained to bring your mind or go beyond the mind, let's put it in this word, learning to go beyond the thinking mind into the unified field of oneness, into the nothingness, into the source. Learning to going beyond the mind into the I am, where it simply is, you're here, but there's no thoughts. You're here, there's no thoughts. Then, who's being tricked? Who's trying to figure out past lives or future stuff? If there's no thoughts, simply if you come to one point in your life, I'm not saying you're there right now, but let's say you have become this human being, that you're here, you operate, you do everything, but you're simply quiet, you have no thoughts.
But you still do.
Yeah, your operating mind works. You can still know how to work with the instruments and run a camera or whatever you do.
Or whatever you do, whatever you choose to have as a profession, whatever you're passionate, you can still do.
Well, you do everything you do, but you simply have no thoughts.
But how do you have no thoughts when doing what you?
Well, you have to try it to find out.
And it's brought you nothing but love and peace.
It brought me back to my place. Yes, realizing who I am.
But it doesn't stop you from questioning, though, does it?
Questions come and go, but they're thoughts, aren't they? But they're not my thoughts.
Yeah, and I suppose some people have got very famous from this work as well. And I just think of a.k.a. Tolle when I think of this work. But, we all seem to be on a different life path where we're not all meant to be Oprah Winfrey. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to compare a.k.a. to your work and say, why was he famous and you not? I think actually, we have to be so acceptance of where we are because this is where we're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly. Well, if you were supposed to be somewhere else, you would. As simple as that.
Yes.
Because in every
yes.
given moment, you can only be in one place.
Yeah. Right, and your work really gets into, well, what is the nature of reality? Because with your work, it's like, well, hang on, I've never been to outer space, but I see all the pictures in the magazines and the books and everything else, and documentaries and films and people that have been there, but I don't know if any of this exists myself. I've never seen some things myself.
Right.
So what is this reality really? That's what your work really says. Do these other continents really exist? Because we've never seen them, right?
Yeah.
I'm using your words here, but it's kind of, I'm only using it as a great analogy, right?
Right. Yeah.
But then others, well, that's what a lot of the channeled material that I've been bringing in is saying. We are creating this reality moment by moment. None of it is this. It's a holographic universe. What really shifted you to change yourself? What got you into this work? Because you was living in Tehran, you then moved to the USA, you went to university. What got you to become a mystic like this? What massive change did you go through to come to this awareness?
Well, I think the mystic was always there, because since 5 or 6 years old, I always questioned the nature of existence. So it was there. Or you may want to call it was past life, since you like past life.
I don't even know anymore. Do you know that you completely give me a new understanding of it? I don't know what I think anymore now being with you. I love you to bits, but I really don't. You've really expanded my thinking, and I appreciate that. I've come to see you for a reason for the documentary.
Right. So, but it was always there. I had profound experiences. Like, I met some powerful people.
I can tell that.
that they had a very strong impact. I definitely got into a lot of psychedelics and drugs and alcohol and pushed it to the edge. I've had 5 near-death experiences that really forced me to really examine the nature of my own being and existence. And somehow, through the grace of God, I survived them. And I'm meant to be here. But a few profound experiences I had was in 2009, I became a full-on healer. And that I had many experiences prior to that, but I'm just going through very key experiences. And one of them was at age 2000 in 2009, for a period of 9 weeks, which was broken down in three weeks. And the first 3 weeks, I started these entities identifying themselves as my 5th dimensional guides. They took over. They took over my mind and my body. And at that time, I had a loft in Venice Beach, and I remember I'm lying down. The only part I remember is I was lying down on my bed, and that must have been for 3 weeks, of 3 weeks of non-stop download of information.
Right.
And I wasn't awake and I wasn't asleep, but it kind of reminds me of the movie of Matrix, and I could just see like info was being downloaded. And after that 3 weeks ended, which I had no control of my body or my mind. I don't know how I ate, I don't know how I went to the toilet, I don't know how anything happened. And it wasn't a comfortable experience. It wasn't like I had people saying, oh wow, cool, I want to go through that. But it was a very, very exhausting period of time because I wasn't awake and I wasn't asleep. So after that 3 weeks, what happened was when they left, my right hand turned into a high frequency transmitter. And I could do psychic surgery with it. I could transmit information, which later on I realized that I could easily activate people's third eyes because the pineal gland is bioluminescent. and my hand is able to send a very high frequency transmitter to people's pineal gland to get it activated. And then I was able to do a lot of different work and healing. Then life went back to normal for 3 weeks, and at the end of the second 3 week, entities came and took over. And they started downloading information again. Downloads, downloads, downloads for another 3 weeks. So this was a 9-week period of time. At the end of the third 3 week, what happened was they told me that your third eye has opened up. So in the beginning of that period, all my abilities enhanced drastically. And I remember the first 2 weeks of it, I could hear other people's thoughts, which is not a very comfortable thing to do, because your own mind by itself is a handful, let alone you're hearing somebody else's mind. So I had to learn to shut that down. It was a very, very painful experience, but I had to shut it down. But it gave me the ability to see things. Like I could start seeing into the auric field. I could just look inside somebody's body and get information. I can't see the organs, but I can find info, or I could look into people's psyche and get a lot of info downloaded to me. That was in 2009. In 2011, however, I must say, I didn't find myself being free. I had become a full-on activated healer, but I was not free. Freedom is a different story. I was still in the world of dualities, because I still thought and believed that I'm my body, I am my emotions, and I'm my thoughts. I believe that. In 2011, around September of 2011, in a period of 3 weeks, I began to have this experience. I started to see that my mind began to turn inwards, as if there were these these doors were turning inside, and they were flipping. And as they were turning in this period of 3 weeks, I started to see that my focus, that was up to that point, I was looking for things outside of myself. I thought love comes from the outside, acceptance comes from the outside, peace is coming from the outside. And the mind turned inwards, and I started to see myself for the first time. I started to see the Atman. I began to see the observer. I began to see the I am, the soul or higher self, whatever name you want to put into it. I started to see myself for the first time ever. And that's where I realized that's what happened, was the mind surrendered to the heart. It was a surrender of the mind to the heart, and the mind became quiet. The mind went into silence. That does not mean thoughts are not traveling. I do see thoughts going through, but I no longer pick them up as mine. I hear them, but they're not me. I notice emotions pass through me. I experience it. If fear comes, I get afraid. If anger comes, jealousy comes, I experience it in the moment, but I never say, I am jealous, I am depressed. I say, jealousy is present. Anger is present.
No denial, yeah.
And then it passes through.
So you don't deny it, you allow it to be.
Yeah, because it's not who I am. It's passing through me. And I'm free from it.
That's beautiful. So those entities that came to you, did you ever get to know who they were, or what your connection with them with them was, or
They identified themselves to me as my fifth dimensional.
and that was it.
That's it.
So what are you doing now with your skill set? Where are you now? Because you're all over the world.
Right. Well, as went through this process, is slowly all other avenues of making a living closed down, and existence shoved me and pushed me in this direction that you are to go and do healing work and to teach. And as much as I resisted and tried not to do it, there was no choice. There was no choice. There is no choice. So, but it wasn't like peaches of cream. It wasn't like all of a sudden, okay, I'm a healer and everything's gonna fall into pieces and everything's gonna work out. No, there was many challenges that I had to go through. But somehow, through the grace of the one, whatever the one is, everything started to fall into pieces. And somehow I survived. Because you can't just do this work, okay, I'm a great healer or whatever, but so what? You still have to pay bills at the end of the month. You have to pay your car payment, you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your employees, you still have to market, you still have to pay for advertisements, you still have to develop a business mind in order to function. So everything has to operate as if there is a business.
And still being with the awareness of no thought.
Yeah, your working mind works. You have a working mind. You're just free from the monkey mind. You're no longer caught into this thing that up to then you believed who you were.
How many people in the business of being in the mediums, channelers, numerologists, astrologers and all that kind of stuff are actually caught up with the monkey mind still with those gifts?
Yeah, I don't know.
Must be a percentage though.
I have no idea.
No. But you come across them that are?
Well, I come across a lot of people who are still very much caught into the duality of their life. They still believe there is another. They still very much believe that there is a dark force outside is to get us. And we have to fight against the dark. There is the...
Where actually it's God, source, isness, I am. It's that presence having an experience as something different. The rapist, the murderer, pillager.
You pick things up very fast. You're very sharp. Yeah, when you wake up to the truth of who you are, you begin to realize, and there is no other. Everybody else on this planet is an aspect of yourself.
Why would that which is want to have these experiences? Is it because, you said this to me as well, personifying your words, that it just sits there for eternity and it's like, well, why wouldn't it want that experience of something really opposite to do? That's kind of what
this is the dimension of duality. Anything that comes into this dimension, the opposite of it is true.
Are you God?
Yes.
Are you an aspect?
I am.
So I feel that truth as well, that we are all an aspect of God, source, I am, however you want to, it's trying to put words on things that are it's so difficult, isn't it? We use words, that's not the right word, we know what we're trying to say, yeah. It's that having this experience, so even ISIS, Hitler, all those, it's just an experience for the greater good.
They're all expressions of the absolute.
Yeah.
Everything is an expression of the absolute. Now, you can share this with some people who may hate you and want to kill you for expressing your understanding of the absolute. And some people are not ready to hear this. And I understand that, and that's part of the way it needs to be.
But we can't say between us, can we, that we have the ultimate answer. if we say this is the ultimate answer, isn't it just the ultimate answer for us on the spiritual journey that we're on right now? It doesn't mean that it's the absolute answer, because
what are we referring to?
Everything that we've spoken about, the whole gamut of what we've spoken about right now.
Right.
If we were to sit here and say, you know what, this is the absolute answer, but it's just the absolute answer for us. It's not the absolute answer for the, because when we do shift our perception and transition to somewhere else, what if there was even a bigger answer, and a bigger answer above that, and a bigger answer above that?
Then there's a bigger answer.
Okay, well that's a good answer then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not saying no. That there's only my truth.
Well, this is not my truth. That's the beauty of it, because it doesn't belong to me. This is what I have come to understand. Understanding maybe changes, because the nature of existence, it's the infinity. It will keep going and going and going and going, means that you can never ever understand it with your thinking mind, grasp it. However, you can become one with it. So you can't understand the mystery, but you can become one with the mystery and be the mystery.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. And you're like I said, you're all over the world, but you are. What's some of the miraculous? You've had some miraculous healing, haven't you, for people?
Yeah, I have witnessed some miraculous things that have happened. Yes.
Are you channeling that energy when you perform that, do you think?
Yeah, definitely existence, the healing energy, that is using me to do it. But
through you?
Yeah, through me. It's not personal.
No.
Like, I have personally no healing powers. Zero. I have no healing powers. So I'm just an instrument when it happens. But it's interesting because I'm not the only one. You know, in my healing training courses, I teach people to do healing work, and healing happens through a lot of other people too.
Because they're channeling it in their way. They're moving this energy through them.
Yeah.
In their way.
Yeah. I mean, they've done it. Everyone's done healing from childhood. You have done it too. When I start explaining how healing happens, majority of people who've never done anything in this work and never read anything about it, they discover they have already done healing. You've already done healing. You are a healer already.
So then why did you have to go through this connection with these beings to become the healer that you are, to spread to others?
Well, that beats me, you know, why I had to go through whatever I had to go through my life as like anyone else's path and journey.
Or is that God sort of saying, we'll go through this way because it will help people resonate more with someone like you, because this is the way we naturally heal anyway, the way that you're teaching. But by you having your experience you had, people look towards you as saying, oh, well, let's listen to this guy because he's gone through this experience. Oh, now I can do it. Had you just come out to say you were a healer in the experience that you're teaching now without the experience you went through, without the drama that you went through, maybe people wouldn't hinge on to you so much.
It appears to be, yeah, it appears to be that way. I don't know, you know? I don't know, because, you know, it could go any direction.
Wow, what an interview, man. Yeah, what an interview. I don't really know how to sum this up, really. I knew you know, it's been life-changing meeting you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice to hear that. You're super sharp on your mind. You know I pushed it with you, and I kept giving you a lot of different things, and you pick it up very quickly. You know, my teacher Papaji, Poonja Ji, back in India, one time told me, Zarathustra, go pull out the mask of everyone that you meet for the next year. So I went and started to pull the mask of every single person I met. Not physically, like that. And every time I did that, I went like, oh my God. Every mask that I pulled, I was shocked. Because behind everybody's face, I only found that one.
And I could say the same for everyone that I've taken down in regression. It's always been that one.
Right.
It goes back to the oversoul.
Right. Yeah. There's only one.
It's like peekaboo.
Yeah.
It's me again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's only one that appears as many. There's only one that appears as many. That's why they say God is the master. The master trickster is tricking everybody, is the master of disguise. It makes it look like it's somebody else. It appears to be there's another person, which there's never been another person. It's only God.
And that's freeing, because when we see that perspective, when others they say, oh, well, there's only oneness then. So what I do to another, I do to myself.
Yeah.
And if we treat each other even from that perspective in this world,
right.
It would be very different. At least
yeah.
a bit more. We'd have the lessons still, but
right.
It would be a little bit more peaceful in the temperature of those lessons.
Yeah, for yourself, you start to relax into it. But that doesn't mean, just because you see God in everybody. I mean, maybe somebody wants to run over here and rape your wife. You're not sitting there and let him do it. You may kick the hell out of the guy. Just because you know it's God, it doesn't mean you're gonna let them rape your wife. But you know the truth.
That's a good point here, is that, we still have the right to self-defense.
Yeah. My teacher used to say, just because you know it's all God, when you're crossing the street and there's a truck coming at 60 miles per hour and you're in the middle of the street, you don't say, oh, the truck is God, driver is God, and I'm just going to stand over here. No, get out of the way.
What is that? That's a human experience.
Yeah, just because you know it's God. And okay, so just coming to this understanding that it's all God, that doesn't still mean, like, in human form, I feel resonance with different people. Some people I like, some people I don't like. Some people I get along with, some people I don't. Some people I trust, some people I don't trust. But when I look deep inside of them, I see God inside every of them. But in human experience, I don't have to like it, because it's still in duality. Until
they wake up, even where they've crossed over in this part. Could be the case though, that when you go back, and that's a human word for that experience of whatever it is to end this, right? That you're no more wiser anyway. Some of those people, in some sense, because they're in denial, they were always in denial of themselves and everything else. So it's still a process when they've crossed over, human word again, to get to grips in their own time with what this was or what this could be. If I channeled my granddad, doesn't mean he's any wiser just because he's moved over than when he was here, kind of thing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
just
don't know
pushing that across to yeah.
I don't know about those things,
No.
but what I
because you only know what you know. That's what you stick with.
I mean, what else? I mean, the rest of it is not mine.
But then someone like me, an opposite to you, is always going on this journey as a documentary, wanting to know the other's truth.
Yeah, it's great. You take some things from it, whichever resonate with you, and you use that. You use it as long as it works for you. And you may get to a point and you say, you know what, it's not my belief, and it helped me at one point. It doesn't work for me anymore.
I think I do it for others. Do you know that? Because I feel in such joy that it might help free someone from whatever slavery they put themselves in and what in their thinking. Just to open a door. It doesn't mean it's true. You find your own goddamn truth. Yeah.
All is very well, Kevin. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
All is well. Everything is in very good hands. The boss has got you by your balls and is going to take you on this journey, and you're serving. You're the hand of God.
Okay.
So am I. You know, we're these pens.
Yeah.
You're just a brush.
Yeah.
Me too. You and I are brushes. There's only one hand that writes all.
Yeah.
You know the book, Paul, you know, The Alchemist? There's only one hand that writes all. The rest are brushes. And that's what we are. We're instruments.
Yeah.
Now you're doing your job, I'm doing my job, and you're doing a good job.
And so are you.
Well, thank you.
You've helped me out so much. Well, then I tell you what. Then let's end this here now and just say I just want to say, wow, and just thank you so much for agreeing to come on. Thank you.
You're welcome. And likewise, it's really nice meeting you. I mean, you're a gentleman and you carry high vibrations, and it's really a pleasure to get to know you. And I look forward to a lifetime friendship, not just this time.
Most
Hopefully
definitely.
we'll see each other again.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.